Hi, and welcome to Habits for Humans, the podcast that explores what makes people tick and how to program this brain of ours to do what we actually want it to do. I'm your host, Kim Flynn, and today we're going to talk to Robbie Hall. Super excited to talk to him about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is a system and a process. And so Robbie's going to talk to us about tracking and logging nutrition and activity. And when he started doing this, his life completely changed. I don't know about you, but tracking and logging, I'm a business person, right? And everything is about tracking and logging, not for the sake of tracking and logging, but because it can predict when you track the past, you can predict the future and you can make different goals happen. So I'm so excited to listen to Robbie and and figure out how to apply that to our health and our fitness. And I also want to emphasize a lot of this podcast has really been focused on not dieting and not treating ourselves like a project to be controlled. I just want to be sensitive to that topic at the same time. How can we track things while not obsessing and developing an eating disorder about it? So if we're neurotic, we've gone too far. So Robbie, I would like to also talk about that and make sure that we keep that balance in mind as well. We have a giveaway for our listeners at the end. We've got a giveaway from our sponsor Card Salad. We also have a giveaway from Robbie's business. And so stay tuned all the way until the end if you like free stuff. We've got lots of free stuff here for you. A word from our sponsors. Habits for Humans is brought to you by Card Salad, a health and wellness company that teaches you how to program your brain using systems and habits. So you know how everyone wants to eat healthy, but it takes so long to meal plan and you end up just eating dino nuggets and frozen tater tots. So instead of that plan for lunch today, confession here, Robbie, I had some Costco tamales in the microwave for 30 seconds. It was good though. It was really good. But yeah, I didn't meal plan this week and it's apparent. So what I did is create a product called Eat Well. It's made by the company Card Salad. It's a done for you meal planning system. It comes with a menu board. You hang on your refrigerator. You have all the recipes on your refrigerator. It comes with a done for you shopping list. You just load that into your shopping, your favorite grocery store. And it's kind of like Blue Apron or all those meal delivery services with only 10% of the expense, and you don't kill the environment by throwing out all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that, we actually have a giveaway for you at the end, which is a week of meal planning done for you. The recipes gradually get healthier and healthier and a little bit leaner as you go. So you're not jumping into a diet, you're slowly training your body and how to eat healthy. So stay tuned to the end. That would deliver to your email inbox and I'll show you how to get that. So I'm super excited to introduce Robbie Hall. Robbie Hall is the owner of Mobile Muscle. I actually like that name a lot. He teaches a branded style of group fitness at 4 separate studios with core power yoga. He helps people with their goals to burn fat, shred muscle, and have fun doing it. So Robbie, we always start with your number one habit to manage your own mental wellness, especially post 2020. All of us, I just got off a podcast a minute ago with a doctor who specializes in stress and what that does to us. And he said that our nation is facing a stress epidemic of crazy proportions. Over 90% of us are reporting in the US are reporting that we are massively stressed. And so that's why we always start this podcast with, what is the practice that you do to manage the stress of daily life?
Mine is very simple. I walk my dog. I've got a path that takes me about a mile, and that has been my key to my sanity through all of this. I got a little Scottish Terrier. He's a great dog. And when COVID first started, that was one of the big changes that I made in my life was regularly walking him. And I have two boys. They're both teenagers, and I used to rely on them a lot on helping walk him. And now I make sure it's something that I do on a daily basis. Just that time being to yourself, also spending time with my little guy, but it's just a ritual, and that allows me to kind of deconnect from the technological world, being on my phone and working on on social media.
So this is actually a habit that I would love to implement into my life. So I'm a gym girl. I go to the gym 3 times a week pretty consistently, but I would love to go walk my dog and listen to a book on audio. I've done it several times and I kind of get in the habit and then I fall out. How did you get in that habit? What did you do to put that, to instill it in place?
I just told myself, I said, I'm going to walk. My dog's name is Sheriff. little Scottish Terrier. And I said, I'm going to walk him every day. And I actually did. I did listen to, although I've gotten out of the habit of listening to books, I listen to music now a lot. But I did, listen to audiobooks. I read or listened to Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. That was the first time it was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, it's definitely helped me in my personal life. Just taking that time to get away and just taking time to yourself and doing what you find enjoyable, as opposed to trying to be connected and having to be always at someone's need.
I love that you said it needs to be enjoyable. And I
Absolutely.
strongly agree. I completely strongly agree. And also love that it's so simple, right? We're looking for like these complicated plans and systems. If your brain works
Yes.
like mine does, which yours probably does if you like checklists,
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
looking for like this complicated plan because it's hard for us. I'm speaking for myself here, because it's hard for me to lose weight or hard to feel like I'm making progress. I think, oh, it needs to be complicated in order for it to work. And I love the simplicity of that. Okay, so let's get in. Tracking. Tell us
Yeah.
all about tracking. How do we do it? What do you track? What is your story of finding tracking? Give it all to us.
Awesome. First off, I just like to say I appreciate that you use the word simplicity. Each week I theme in all of my classes, working with clients, doing nutrition, group fitness, one-on-one fitness. I theme every week. My theme this week is simplicity. And I focus mainly on just slowing things down and focusing on your breath. And so I appreciate you use that word simplicity because it really ties into my theme for this week. I believe wholeheartedly in keeping things as very simple as possible and making sure that it's something that we enjoy. I tell every single person I work with, if this becomes a stress in your life, it's time to back off and step away, even if it's for a day, 2 days a week. This will always be back here, tracking, logging, paying attention to our fitness, our movement, our nutrition. That will always be there. And what we have to understand is that we enjoy these moments in our life that are celebrations, holidays. We enjoy those when we allow ourselves to pay attention to tracking, logging our nutrition throughout the week. Now, if it ever gets to that point where it's no longer enjoyable, we've taken the entire purpose out of all of this. And our goal is to keep things manageable, stress-free, not just trying to lose weight, not just trying to look better, or it's about how does this affect everything in your life and everything that you're doing. So mine is very simple. My process is it's a very simple 8-step program. And I walk you through, and you know what, some people stay in step 1, step 2, some people progress to the 8th step. It doesn't really matter where you are along that journey.
Well, now I'm
As long,
dying to know. You have to give
yeah,
us the big picture. What are the 8
okay.
steps big picture?
So the 8 steps are very simple. Step 1 is simply watching your sleep and your water intake. 2 things that we have to have in life that we can't survive without are sleep and water. And if you can simply pay attention to these basic necessities in your life, well, now you've created a habit of tracking that. And for a lot of us, we want to get into it. I'm glad you brought up dieting. It's like we want to get in and we want to diet. And it becomes so overwhelming. There's so many details, so many moving parts, and it consumes everything about your life. And so my goal is to try to teach you, you don't necessarily have to diet. You don't have to watch your macronutrients. You don't have to watch your calories. Now, obviously, that's something we want you to do. We want you to get to that point. But if it's becoming stressful and taking away from your life and you enjoying your life, then it's no longer serving your purpose.
So many good things here. So I swore off, not like extreme, but I used to weigh myself almost every single day.
Mm.
And if the scale went up a pound, then I was like, oh no, I'm fat. I'm the sky is falling. And if I lost a pound, I was like, yay, awesome. I don't want to have that control my mood. Right. So I've just said, you know what, I'm going to stop doing the weighing myself, because I tend to obsess about it. How do we track? And let's go back to your step one, your sleep and your water. How do we track that logistically? Like, tell us how to do it. And then how do we make sure that it's not obsessive?
Mine is very simple. I wake up in the morning and it's what time did I wake up? What time did I go to bed? And I don't pay attention so much to the quality of my sleep or how many times I got up throughout the night. It's simply creating a habit of paying attention to it and being mindful of it. And, and that's honestly, the question you ask me is, most clients that I work with, that's the first question I ask. They say, well, how do I track my sleep? So you really don't need to track it as much as you just need to pay attention to it on a daily basis. When did I go to sleep? When did I wake up? Very simple.
So it's almost like, it's not about the paper and like having a track and
Yes.
having a graph that you can you can tell
Yes.
I'm obsessive here. It's not about that. It's about noticing. That's it. And that's the reason for the tracking. The tracking is to notice
and to be mindful and to create that habit of bringing it into the forefront of your mind, knowing that sleep and water are in your breath, obviously, but those are the three most important things. You cannot live without those. Now, our breath is obviously voluntary. Our sleep we can pay attention to, and our water consumption as well. And mine is simple. I have a 24-ounce water bottle. I just count how many times I fill it up throughout the day. And I'll tell you the same thing. I've had many clients and they say, well, how much water do I need to drink? You know what? You drink when you're thirsty. And it's not about how much water you need to consume. You know how much you need to consume, but just being mindful of that. Don't let yourself go thirsty. So that's my step one. If you can prove to yourself that you can do that consistently, and for me is a week. If you can do it for 7 days, that's fine. Some people is 3 days. It's everybody's different. When you know that you've got that handled, then we move on to the next step, which is paying attention to your food.
I'm loving, Robbie, how Mr. Zen you are. So
Oh,
I'm even comparing my pacing and my voice to yours. You're like, la, 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 like calm the fuck down is kind of what you're saying. And I'm like, let's go. What do I track?
yes.
So I really, really appreciate just that energy of, okay, the way we're tracking is we're not saying I have a list of checklists and we're tracking every time we take a drink and we're measuring the water and we're writing down how many micronutrients we took from the water. Like we're not doing any of that obsessive stuff. We're tracking, but in a non-obsessive way. Okay. So just to recap again for myself, the way you track sleep is truly just to look at the clock and say, it is 2:30 a.m., Kim, it's time to go to bed. Can you tell some of my unhealthy habits here? I'm like revealing all to the Zen Robbie here. And then when you wake up, you say, okay, it is, 7:30 in the morning, you're waking up. And then for the water, I love the idea of just a water bottle. We're not trying to hit a goal. There are no goals here. We are trying to pay attention to what our body is telling us. You are thirsty, and just tracking how many times we refill that. I'm loving this. All right, step two. So step one, I also love, love, love the principle of you don't move on. You don't try to take on your entire life. You just take on one step at a time. You master that slowly, and then you move on to step two.
Yes. So when I first started working with clients, my success rate was literally 0%. And the reason being is because I would give you, and this is for me personally, when I would go through nutrition programs or fitness programs on my own, they were all very similar. You have a person that gives you a packet. It has a grocery list. It has your meals lined up for each day. It has your workouts you're supposed to do. And it's unsustainable. And most people were not robots. And
it's 0 to 80 overnight. It's all of a sudden have a completely healthy lifestyle overnight.
And when I first started in this business, I followed that strategy of giving everybody all the information at once and then wondering why, well, nobody succeeds. And when I broke it down and said, we're no longer going to have an expectation of what you need to be and what you need to do, because everybody is different. Even if you look at all our basic studies, you go through any program, all we're looking at is studies on a large group of people. For example, I don't want this to sound offhanded, but we know for a fact that cigarettes kill people. We know this. Studies prove that, but they don't kill everybody. There are some people that smoke until they're 80 years old, and it's not healthy. But I apply that same concept is what we're trying to do is what's generally healthy for everybody, but understanding that we're all individuals and everybody's different. And all we're trying to do is take baby steps each and every week to be better versions of ourselves, as opposed to trying to take an entire program and say, you need to follow this so you can be this type of person. It's if all you're trying to do is take goals on yourself and take small steps to improve, we're always going to get better. As opposed to, here's 10 things you need to do starting today. And if you don't do this, you're going to fail. And this is not going to be successful at the end. So my second step is very simple, is just tracking what you eat. And for some people, they use an app. Some people write it down. Some people take a picture of their food. Some people, just at the end of the day, they just kind of tally up what they ate. But all we're trying to do is get you to be mindful of what you're eating. And it's not trying to tell you that you have to eat a certain number of vegetables throughout the day or a certain number of protein. It's just being very mindful of what you're putting into your body. So step one, sleep and water. If you can handle that, then we move on to the next step and just being mindful and paying attention to what you're eating. If you can do that successfully, then we move on to the next step, which at this point is we begin to start counting your calories. Now, we're going to go back to the very beginning here about not being obsessive and about not making this the basis of everything you're doing. I have plenty of clients that do not want to count calories whatsoever. And that is completely fine. I believe that just like I try to use your body in the same way that we use our budget with our money. If you're trying to be successful with your money and if you're trying to create wealth, generate wealth, your first step is to get into your checkbook and start balancing your checkbook. I believe that with your body as well. But that doesn't mean that that's the only way to succeed. But if you can do that, if you can begin to track your sleep and water, you can do that. You can create that habit. Then you create the habit of watching your food on a daily basis. If you can do those two things and you're successful with it, then we begin to look at the contents of the food.
I love the principle of not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, right? So because counting calories can lead to dieting mindset, can lead to obsession about your body, can lead to not very pleasant characteristics, and also not only can lead to that, but can be indicative of that. So I want to be sensitive to that. But also, I love the analogy of the checkbook here. If we're tracking calories, not because we are trying to obsess or trying to control or but just truly to be mindful, then awesome. What a powerful tool for you to be able to say, yes, I am overeating, or yes, I am under eating.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that it's not what you do, it's how you do it, or it's not what you do, it's why you do it. It's not obsessing and checking yourself when you obsess, and instead using it as a tool. I appreciate that. Okay, so that's step 3, counting calories.
And I'll tell you this too. You know what I find most of the time, I have plenty of clients that come in and they are not eating enough. And you don't realize this until you start paying attention to it. And a lot of the problem with our society right now is looking around our culture and saying that they're trying to almost like body shame, trying to take you away from what your body is and what you should be like. And it forces people to starve themselves and not eat. And there are both sides of that. There are people that will completely overeat, and there are plenty of people that are not eating enough because they don't understand that simple concept. The fourth step, and this is where it begins to get more complex, is starting to track the calories that you're burning. And coming back to a very simple formula is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. And if we take and just understand simply what we burn and the energy that we use throughout the day, in order to be healthy, we need to put that food back into the system. So it's understanding how much calories are we burning and turning that into how many calories we're eating and trying to find the balance between the two. So this is where it gets, and this is going to get back to me walking my dog, is simply getting people to walk more and understanding that most of the people I work with are at desk jobs. They sit at a desk. I have one guy that's a truck driver. He sits in a truck all day. And a lot of times people think that what they need to do is they need to get out and go hit the gym. And it becomes, when they don't have that time to do that, it becomes like a failure to them. And I try to teach people to maximize their efficiency throughout the day, to increase your step count simply by walking more. So it's things like on your lunch break, instead of eating food at your desk, getting up and walking to another part, maybe walking out to your car, walking to the park, walking to another part of the office, just getting yourself moving and get some activity involved, and then take your break there. Going to the grocery store, simple things like, instead of trying to find that parking spot at the beginning of the lot, just park at the end, giving yourself just that opportunity to walk more. And so what I try to do is get people to understand, to maximize their amount of efficiency throughout the day. So, and to me, walking is one of the most important things that you can do. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I believe this: gym time, whether it's yoga, lifting weights, cardio, none of that matters if we're not paying attention to the other areas of our life. So one of the most powerful things that you can do is stay focused on your daily routine and just learn how to increase small things like walking more, increasing your level of activity just a little bit more. Instead of sitting down and watching TV, get up and walk your dog and use that as your tool of stress release.
Such good stuff. We're so used to hearing these long lists of things that we can do, right? We've all heard park farther away from the grocery store, or take the stairs instead of the elevator. And we've all heard these like long lists, right? And I don't know about you, but in my mind, whenever I hear a long list of like, oh yeah, I should do that, should do that, should do that, I know in my head that I'm not going to do any of it. So here's the challenge that I want to offer to our listeners and to myself, Robbie, maybe to you as well. Let's choose one of those. If you have an elevator at your work, my office building has an elevator. I am going to choose that one. I will not this week, and not forever, just this week to make it small, right? This week, I will take the stairs every time. If you don't have that situation in your life and you still go to the grocery store, you can say, this week, I will park far away. Or what are some other ideas for us of just like truly taking on a miniature challenge right now and putting this into play? So what other ideas could we give them?
I'll tell you one thing is, instead of getting up and going for a walk, just getting up and walking to your mailbox, looking around outside and enjoying outside, whether it's warm, cold, just taking a few moments to go look outside and then turn around and walk back into your house. Not even saying that you have to commit to going out and taking a long walk or going on a jog. Just get up and walk out of your house and just enjoy what's around you. And then the next day, maybe walking just a little bit farther down the road, just kind of looking around. I'll tell you, our cell phones, which most of us carry on us at all times, and I know not everybody does, but most people do, we don't realize this, they have a step tracker in there. They will tell you at the end of the day how many steps that you take. And when I talk about trying to improve and be just a little bit better than you were the week before, one of the most powerful tools you could do is go into your step tracker and look how many steps that you take. And simply just say, all I'm going to do this week is improve by 5%. Simple number, 5%. It's such a small number. But if you hit that goal, you've made a win, a very significant win.
How different is that? Do you remember when the little Fitbits came out years
Yes.
ago? Everyone had one, and it was like you have to hit 10,000 steps to be in the Cool
Yeah.
Kids Club, or like 12,000 steps. Or I had a
Yeah.
friend who was like 20,000 steps, and I was like, oh, like it's
Yeah.
obsessive, right? We're talking about
Yes.
obsessive again versus uh,
Mhm.
make a very small win for yourself and a very small goal of I'm just gonna make 5% higher.
Yeah.
How
100.
sane inducing is that? Thank you
Yes.
for this
Yeah.
message of sane inducing. All right, we got to rush through. I know you have 4 more steps. Such good stuff so far. Let's go through those last 4 steps
I'll bring
in the next 5 minutes.
I'll go through them fast. Step 4. Now we've counted our calories out. It's blending those two together and just keeping track of whether you're at a surplus, a deficit, or if you're maintaining. Very simple. And then we've already started looking at the food, and this is high level. Is if you want to get to that point, and this is your choice. You don't have to be here to be successful. But as we start looking at your protein, the protein that you eat, then we look at how much carbohydrates you eat and how much fat that you're eating. You can be anywhere in this program and be ultra successful. You can be ultra successful just by increasing your sleep and your water. You can be ultra successful without looking at your food and just increasing your activity. There's multiple paths here to get to that next level. All we're trying to do is take small, simple steps, as opposed to saying, this is the program, you follow this program and you're gonna be in great shape. Everybody's different, you know, everybody's different. But the way I look at it, I'll give you a brief analogy, and what was powerful to me is looking at it like tennis. You can go out and you can play tennis. My girlfriend plays tennis, and we'll go out there, and I feel like I'm doing great against her. And when we keep track of score, I realize she's beating me. And that's the way that we look at it. Is sometimes you just got to look at the score just to see where you stand and understand that there's different ways to win by taking sometimes it's all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my forehand and hit inside the boundary. And if I can hit inbounds on my forehand 10 times this game, I won. Regardless of what the ultimate score is, that's a win for me. Maybe it's your backhand, maybe it's your serve. But you start compiling all these little wins together and start paying attention to them, the big picture gets completely affected. So all I try to do, like I said, small steps, create wins for people, make you feel good about yourself, become the best version of yourself possible as you can each and every week, just taking baby steps. And I love that we're not looking, especially here, that you brought that up at the beginning. Diets, fad diets, these things are not successful. They're not sustainable. They're not good for your mental health. How do we contribute to our health by just looking at what we're doing and just being a little bit better each and every week?
So you have, I don't know if people have told you this before, but you have this hypnotic sense about you. Like I find myself, even though I'm doing this interview, I find myself just like, yes, I need to do this. I so appreciate that. That's for me is the test of a mentor or someone I would want to follow. It's not exactly the words that people say. It's the meaning and the energy and the intention behind them. And just a compliment to you, you can feel your zenness. You can feel you're not obsessive and you're not about everyone follow this plan, that kind of thing. And so I really appreciate that about you. So there's a compliment for you. You are Zen hypnotic. How's that? All right. Last question here before we wrap up. If you could have one message to tell the world, what would it be, Mr. Robbie Hall?
Spend time with your loved ones and enjoy every moment of it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well said. All right. As we wrap things up, reminder that the goal of this podcast is to program your brain to start instilling systems and habits into your daily life. It's not about what you know, it's about what you do, starting one very small step at a time. And for our listeners, I'd love to encourage you to choose one of those things that we talked about. For me, again, I'm going to be taking these stairs every day this week instead of the elevator to the 3rd floor. And that is easy and small. And I can start building that that habit. And so I'd encourage you to do the same thing. We have a giveaway from our sponsor, Card Salad. Go to habitsforhumans.com and sign up for a free 7-day Eat Real Foods challenge. It's 7 days of recipes done for your shopping list, and your meal planning is done for you. for a week. Robbie has a free yoga sculpt class. It's Vinyasa mixed with weight training on his YouTube channel. If you check the show notes, we'll have all the links to Robbie and this free yoga sculpt class. Robbie, will you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, what changed my path to fitness, I was very concerned about my body image. And when I got into yoga, I learned how little that actually matters. And yoga is all about connecting your breath with your movement and then learning how to apply that to your life. So the yoga sculpt class that I teach is a high intensity class that teaches you to breathe through adversity. So as opposed to just going out and cranking a workout in, it's trying to learn to breathe through the difficulty of the challenge. And we use dumbbells, if you would like, to increase that level of intensity. So there's always multiple paths to getting you to another level of intensity, but it's really just about breathing through the challenge. And that is my ultimate goal with everybody I work with, is just learning to know that life is full of challenges, adversity, obstacles, and for us to learn how to get through those by simply breathing through it.
Oh, so well said. I'm kind of jealous right now. I do the classic gym thing and I enjoy it. Recently moved from a gym that had, I don't know, gymish people in it, lots and lots. I was next to a college university. Everyone around me is 22 and in 22-year-old shape. And there's
Yeah.
mirrors everywhere. And every focus when you work out is this is what you look like. This is what you look like. This is what you look like. Change to a gym without all the mirrors, it's probably going to go out of business. There's hardly anyone there. Sad. But just realizing how different my mental space is when I'm not focused on how do I look, but focusing on how does it feel to do the exercise. And oh man, you talking about yoga just makes me want to get back into yoga. That's a beautiful space to work out in. Let's see. So that is the end of Robbie's. Anything else you want to say about what people can do to work with you or your business?
Certainly. My website is mobilemusclemax.com. You can find me on Instagram under Mobile Muscle Max, and my YouTube channel is Mobile Muscle. And you can see my Vinyasa yoga sculpt classes on there. I'm giving away on this podcast 1 month of free accountability. Yes, I'll do that with you for 28 days. And I'll give you the number you can text me on if you want to take advantage of that offer is 720-226-4256. I am very grateful that you gave me this opportunity to come on, Kim. I was extremely nervous about this, but you are a great host. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I hope our paths get to cross again soon.
Awesome. How gracious of you. That is bold to give out your phone number. I'm a little bit worried about putting it in the show notes because you might get spammed.
It's okay. I don't mind.
So we're not going to put your
mind.
phone number in the show notes, but we will put your Facebook and Instagram, and people can direct message you there. How does that sound?
I have no problem with getting spammed. I'll tell you that today.
Okay.
Seriously, I'm
All
used
right.
to it.
Says the person before he's been spammed, and then you're like, maybe I should rethink that. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll make sure all of that information is in the show notes. And thank you, Robbie. Really generous offer there. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to our listeners. This is Habits for Humans, the podcast that teaches you how to program your brain to maximize your potential. And thank you in advance for giving us a positive review. Thanks so much, everyone.